What if one conversation could connect you to the right resource at the right time? Let's talk. Welcome to Heart with Christine Matus.
Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our Heart to Heart series. And this is where we have conversations that really matter. And we talk about stories that inspire change. Well, today, you're in for a treat. This is amazing. And I'm so happy he's here today. We're honored to welcome a powerful advocate, speaker, author, Jerry L. Green. He is the founder of Bullying is a Drug, and he's going to tell you a lot more about it. But it is really an organization dedicated helping families, kids, educators, communities, and about what happens in the devastating impact of bullying and in all forms. You know, I'm so amazed to know that there is someone on this earth like Jerry who is here to talk about this because it is something that we probably heard about, we probably went through, but to have an advocate talk and go over all of the things that he's experienced and how he can help, well, it's amazing. And it's really such a deep mission that he has. And I can't wait for him to share what his message is with all of you. And really, if you know someone who's going through this, or if you've been through this, you're going to want to listen to this entire interview. So I'm just excited. So, Jerry, welcome so much to Heart series. Thank you for being here. We really am so happy you're here.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk to your clients.
Oh, thank you. I guess what I always like to start out with, Jerry, is, I've read about you. I love your website. I know about your books, but I was wondering in your words, is there a way that you can explain to families how you got here? Like what happened that we're here with this mission?
Okay. I I really look at it and say I was called here. I didn't pick it, it picked me. And when I say that, I was publishing a directory, a business directory in Southern California for 10 years. And in April 2017, because of my directory, parents start calling me saying, Jerry, you're a resource. I know you know someone. They're trying to kick my baby out of school. And I said, well, when is the meeting? They say Tuesday. I said, oh, I can go. And so I went to the meeting and just asking basic questions because being prior military, I learned this about the policy and procedure and the regs. So I would ask, based on what the student done, what policy or procedure are you using to hold the student accountable? And really what that falls up under is ed code. And what is education code? It's to govern legislation and how school districts are ran versus penal code is how law enforcement, quote unquote, give you a ticket. They quote a penal code. So every school district is governed by laws and how they need to function.
How did you even come across that? Like, were you aware about all of this when you were asked to join this meeting? Or, I mean, really, because to
No,
be able to be prepared that way is amazing.
no, just asking questions. And I knew educators. So then, and I started off because my directory was targeting the Black community in Southern California. So the first families I advocated for were Black families. So I advocated for 5 families in 3 weeks, and all 5 students got to stay in school just because I went and asked questions. And they was like, well, he can stay, she can stay. So I was like, okay. So then I Googled Black student advocate. Didn't anything show up? So I said, okay, I'll be the Black student advocate. So I've been marketing up under that brand since 2017. And about 18 months ago, started with Bullying is a Drug because what I found is most of the problems we had felt right up under the bullying title. And,
Yeah.
and the third of calls we get is staff bullying students.
Now, I'm already seeing how this probably grown, but as it was evolving in front of your eyes, were there other resources that you were able to lean on? Because I mean, this is something that, again, people hear about, but not many people really tackle it the way you've been.
So I was looking for other individuals in the space. So, and then I really found there wasn't anyone doing it how I wanted to do the business model. So, what I tell individuals is I create the industry. So, if you hashtag or Google Black Student Advocate, my organization comes up.
Amazing. That is amazing.
And so I said, okay, I create the industry. And then I had individuals say, Jerry, you got to learn ed code. So I started reading California ed code and understanding the policy and procedures, how students are disciplined. So now I go in meetings and I know ed code better than the administrators. And I tell them that's the wrong ed code you're using against that student.
Wow. And that, so knowing that, and you said you were focused in California, but how has it grown since then?
Well, because of COVID. Before I was living in Southern California, so I was driving, putting maybe 200, 300 miles on a car some days because I was going from district to district to district, being on site to meetings. And because I wasn't an educator, I came from the business community, I had to learn how school districts work, knowing that when you get an IEP, and you know the scenario, they'll say, okay, Mr. Smith, we're uh, we're getting ready for you. So,
Hmm.
but what happens? They sit you down as a parent, and then they say, okay, we're ready, Mr. Smith. When they bring you in the room, now it's eight people across the table from you, and that's the intimidation and how they try to scare parents, as if we're the professionals and you don't know better than us. So we really don't want to hear what you have to say as a parent because we know best as a professional. And I
Hmm.
know you've seen that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
sad because, it's easy to get intimidated, especially when you're a parent, it's your child, your flesh and blood. So your heart is ready out there, it's on your sleeve, you're emotional. And I can see where you come in and you give them that strength, Jerry. Like you just give them that. I also think that hope because it feels, I'm sure you've come across where sadly, I think the families just feel broken when all of this is happening.
So too many times when families bring me on a team, and that's what I say, bring me on the team because
Mm,
they're the coach and the quarterback. I'm just a role player for their team.
mm.
And they say, Jerry, because you're here, we can sleep now at night.
Oh,
We can get rest. We have peace because we know that you're going to come in and you're going to ask the questions and going to hold them accountable because school districts know what students should be getting. They're just not going to do it until someone's there and say, no, you need to do this based on the policy and the law. And then that changes.
now, Jerry, I'm wondering, you've helped, so many families, and I was curious, is there something that you can share with the families that are listening? Say there's a family that's listening now and they are going through something like this. What are things, some tips that you think they should know, that every family should know if they feel their child is in this situation, being bullied, having such a hard time with the system? What are maybe some practical tips that you might recommend them to do to protect themselves, protect their child, and maybe even just get a little bit of leverage, you know?
The first thing I would say is read the district's website about bullying and
Mhm.
the student handbook. So the first three questions they should ask is, where's that at in ed code or state statute or what, however they define it per state, because some states are statutes, other states are ed code. But where's it at the state? Where's it at a district? And where's that in student handbook about bullying? Because
Wow.
if you have a zero tolerance, then it shouldn't go on.
Right. Absolutely.
So
You're right.
that and tell their student if they get pulled to the office, all they need to say is, I want to call my parent or guardian.
Mm,
I want to call my parent or guardian. Because school districts have a right to investigate, but investigation, interrogation is a fine line. Don't matter what they say, it still would be a used against them.
wow.
So it's for the student to say, I want to call my parent. I want to call my parent. I want to call my parent. That's all they say
Amazing.
because the parent then can govern. what is said, or say, we'll have a conversation in 2 days once my student cools off.
So you're telling me, Jerry, they don't ask, saying, "Hey, do you want to call your parent?" They don't ask that to the child?
No, no, they're gonna ask the child. I got a situation I was tagged in on Facebook yesterday. A 4-year-old kid was charged with sexual assault. This is what the mom just said in general, and the police and the staff member interviewed the baby
Without the parent.
without the parent.
Oh my God. That's
And so again, and I have a show, and I was talking to a therapist yesterday, and it's just one of those things. The kid's so young, you start asking that kid at that age, 2 or 3 adults, they're going to change the story because they just don't know. And so now
exactly.
you're going to take that this kid did a confession or said they did something. When you put them in a room without their parent, these are the kind of calls I get
That's
frequently, frequently.
like my heart hurts that you're telling me this because I think you and I have also been in situations, and it doesn't even have to be bad like that. But, I know what my child means when they see a certain phrase, and I'll be
Hmm.
like, well, that's what that means. But out of context, people can take it whatever way and they'll be like, oh my God, something bad's happened. Like, no, this is a joke. Like, they don't, and without the parent there to interpret,
But
bad things are going to happen.
so you're in law, so in locus parentis,
Hmm.
which means the school is an extension of the parent when the school student is on site. What other parent would let their kid be interrogated or talked to without them in the room? So why would a administrator do that?
100%. You're absolutely right. But then the problem is, Jerry, once it's happened, now they're using it against the family, against the
Yes,
child, when you're saying, like, this shouldn't have ever even have happened.
yes,
And to go back. So then that's where you are also brought in, I'm sure, Jerry, to try to say, like, these were improper
correct.
statements, things like that.
So
What
so
back?
that and let me say something else.
Yeah.
It's a known practice for school districts when parents start advocating for their student to get a false claim from CPS. So CPS starts a claim and go knock on the parent's door. Someone makes a false claim. Many times it's retaliation from a school district.
Oh my gosh.
It's a
So
dirty
then
game. This
so
it's a dirty game out here.
you said it. And then the problem is then, Jerry, anybody who wants to step up and do the right thing, they got to brace themselves
Mhm.
that it's not just going to happen. No one's just going to apologize.
That don't
They're going to
happen.
fight back.
That does not. Apologies do not come.
Oh my
I've
gosh.
had several parents say, "Jerry, I just want to apologize." I said, "You're not going to get it." School
Yeah.
districts that school districts want to maintain the position of authority. And so what happens is think about this.
Yeah.
If you go to a hospital, you say, I have someone up on 5C. They'll say, oh, go around the corner, take that elevator, go up to the 5th floor, get off and make a right.
Hmm.
If you at an airport, you say, hey, I need to get the corridor C. They'll say, hey, get on the tram, go down, get off, and do this. But school districts don't explain how the system works because that's their control. Once parents start going to school and getting involved, they see how it works and they get their power back.
Wow.
But
Wow.
long as they continue to have parents in the dark, then they get have control. And I use a phrase that
Oh,
school districts are the biggest bullies in many neighborhoods because everything has to go on in their sandbox. All the meetings have to go on in their building, so automatically they're in control.
so when parents are having a situation, Jerry, it should not be out of the ordinary where they say, I want an advocate with me. Like, it should not, that should come naturally, don't you
Yes,
think?
yes,
And yet, I'm going to probably 90% of people don't. They just
yes,
walk right in there and they become overwhelmed, outgunned. And I've seen it where people say, this is what they said. This is what they said we have to do. And I'm always thinking, like, that doesn't sound right.
yeah,
And, and did they
yeah.
ask your opinion? And they're like, no, they just said, this is it. He's out.
And,
She's in. That's like there's no decision.
and
They're making all decisions.
so let me go back to a 504 IEP meeting. Soon as we get in, and when I was going on site, then being in military, I'm not going to sit with my my back to the door. So as soon as I walk in, I want to sit on that side of the table. That changes the whole room. Everybody got to get up.
Hmm.
I just took control of the meeting.
Nice. Nice. Isn't that
Something
amazing?
else they do is within 20, 30 minutes of an IEP and 504, they'll say, "Oh, Dr. Smith, don't you have a meeting you need to be in 30 minutes?" And now they're trying to rush. I'll say, "We're going to adjourn this meeting right now. I'm not going to have my client have to make a decision under duress." That's one. And two, by law, we don't have to sign today.
Hmm.
So we're going to take the paperwork back, let the parent get a couple of days to decompress, then they can look at it with fresh eyes, then they can sign. But they want you to sign that day because most of the document is already done, if not already completed, and whatever you're talking about is irrelevant because they're not going to make the changes.
Yeah. Who else should a parent have on their team, Jerry? I mean, definitely
Uh,
you.
a, a therapist
Mm,
outside the district.
right? Oh,
Because if you have a therapist in a district, many times the therapist is going to rearrange to have your student thinking it's because something happened at home. It's not what's going on in school.
mm,
Because again, they work for the district. Just like when you have an investigation, if they say we have an independent third party, they're
yeah,
not independent, they work for the district. So they're going to write the document favorable to the district to minimize a lawsuit if it's going to come later.
you're right. 100%. Oh my goodness. These are such golden tips that you're providing for these families. But sadly, Jerry, it sounds like there's not many organizations like you. I mean, and you're very hands-on,
Mhm.
and you really help the parents. And I'm just curious. I mean, like I said, you started in California, but it sounds like you can basically help. You can help nationally?
So I do. But so I'm in Oklahoma City now, so I've been here about 7 years. And so we take calls from all over the country. We're either in meetings via Zoom or over the phone,
Okay.
and again, because the system is pretty much the same, it's just the wording, but the federal law covers all schools, and then each state do what they do, and then each district follow the state law. So, yeah.
So can I've read it on your website, but I was curious, maybe you can, in your own words, what is your mission? Like when parents call you, what are some of the things that you help them with?
So, what we're going to do is we're going to help them navigate the system and make sure school districts are held accountable for how both their student and employees are treated within the schoolhouse. Because we advocate for employees also. Because if an employee really advocate for a student, they become public enemy number one. Because you're going against the system. Long as you're lying and everything else for the system, we don't have a problem. But once you start saying no, this student should get treated better, then you're public enemy number one.
Wow,
And
I
now
never
it's going to be a
did.
hostile work environment for you.
Wow, I didn't even think of that part, honestly,
Yeah.
Jerry. I was always thinking about how you help the family, and you're right. There are other people who come involved who want to help and be back on the parents' team, and then they become the target.
And
Wow.
so what happens though? Other than school districts, and we're going to looking to now offer certification to bring on more advocates. But other than school districts, how can someone with a 150 to $300,000 student loan, cars, houses, one of the student, they want to start a student fund for their kids, so they got to suffer in silence. They go into these districts and knowing the system is not the healthiest place for them to be, but they go there and suffer in silence, and many of them are in therapy.
Wow. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Uh, I've always wondered, Jerry, so you help the family and say, it's an outcome they wanted, but I wish I could say it's probably as simple as that and it's done, but I'm sure there's a lot of sadly consequences from the whole ordeal.
Yes.
And are there things that you can recommend for the families afterwards? Because uh, to me, I mean, here's a question. How long typically are you involved, like on an average
90
from the beginning?
days.
Wow.
When they sign up for our membership, it's 90 days.
Okay. That's
Because
fantastic.
school districts hate to lose. So now when we solve this issue, we know something else is going to happen because they hate to lose. So we're there to make sure that it's a smooth and soft landing for the student and the parent, because we understand how the system works,
Yeah.
you know. So right away on the first call, the initial consultation, I advise the family to seek therapy. If it's a bullying situation, all the students and the siblings should get in therapy according to their sex. If it's a boy, they need a man. If it's a female or girl, they need a female. And the parents also. Because as a parent, you're frustrated because you want to protect your baby, but you can't. So
Right.
you got to get an outlet and talk to someone also because it's traumatic to the whole family.
Absolutely. You know, I can only tell you when I've chatted with families who've gone through this, there's a lot of guilt, a
Mhm.
lot of like, I can't believe it went on this long. Can't believe I didn't know. Um, and even when they were helping, they kept thinking they didn't do enough. It's a lot
Mhm.
of, and you're
It
right.
is.
So I think
It
that
is.
is such a great advice. And thankfully now, don't you think, Jerry, that therapy, whatever, it doesn't have that stigma as it used to. You know, before people would secretly say it or just say it and has a weird connotation. Now it's so quite normal as if, going to any other
Correct.
provider who can help when you're in pain, really.
Hmm. Hmm.
So Jerry, walk me through then once a family finds you, just overall, what can they expect, when they say that there's something going on and just the whole so they know exactly like when they contact your organization, what happens?
Okay. So we get the call, and because they leave a message, then when I call, I record the message. I record our call. So I get the notes. Then from there, so it's initial 15-minute consultation. Then if they decide to move forward, then the next two packages is either an incident package or the expulsion package. So if they decide to move forward, then I send them the notes from the conference call for the initial consultation. We look it over and make sure that's good. So then from there, they decide to move forward. Then we're going to do a three-way conversation with the school district. After you get done three-way conversation, then I'm going to send an email follow-up in reference to what happened. We'll give the district 3 to 5 days to do their research. Then once they contact us back with their finding, I'll do a debrief with the parent or the employee, and then we're going to then strategize, do another conference call with the district, and then another follow-up email. If we're happy with the resolution, we stop. If not, we move forward with litigation. And with that, then I look for attorneys who will take on the family's case. And I'm still with the family through the whole process because the lawyer handled the legal side with the court. I'm still dealing with the school district and the parent because we just know things continue to happen. You know, it's just one of those things that once parents say they're going to fight, it's a long fight.
Yeah.
It's not a
Yeah.
short fight, and a lawsuit can be anywhere from 18 months to 5 years or longer. So it's not a quick process for a lawsuit either
No,
because the
no.
courts are backed up. So again, it's two different things, but our main thing is to make sure that the environment is safe and conducive to that student getting the education. If
That's
it's safe and conducive getting the education, I tell parents, I don't manage interpersonal. If you don't like that principal, you don't like that teacher, you're the quarterback and the coach. It's your job to mend that. I
right.
don't get involved in that. But if the student's being hurt or something like that, that's when I get involved.
That's amazing. No, I think that's really good. Have you done educational events for schools? I was curious, Jerry, or would that be a conflict,
That's a conflict because
Yeah.
we're always independent
Hmm.
of schools.
Makes sense. Makes sense. But I would
And
think that,
so let me say this right here. It's three different business models.
yeah,
The business model is you can work for the school and then you become their mouthpiece because you got to eat. You could be a nonprofit and then sooner or later you're going to upset someone, and that still can mess with your cash flow.
Mm.
Or you can just be independent like I am and only work for parents and employees. So then I can keep an authentic voice.
Yeah. And that you're purely for the parent.
Yeah.
No matter what's going on out there, no matter what the political agenda may be from someone, it doesn't matter to you. It's
No.
at the end of the day, it's for the child. It's the
And,
student that we're helping. And like you said, the employee too. I
and
get that.
that
So that's smart.
I've advocated for all races, advocated for kids who said they've been gay, they're lesbian. I don't care because ed code is ed code.
Yep.
If this kid is being bullied, then we're going to address that.
That's great. Now, has there been any major changes in the ed code that you've been pleased about? Like something that's been going on and finally you're like, oh, finally they made this change. I don't know. Or has it always been the same? Like
What,
no changes?
well, in 2016, the governor of California at that probably about 2017, 2018, uh, willful defiance. It couldn't not be disciplined for students that was like third grade and below. And so, what is willful defiance?
Hmm.
Teachers say, Jerry, move, and I take too long. They're going to write me up, kick me out. I had one student that she was going through the lunch line and they kept offering her the USDA pears because they want to give balanced lunch. And the girl kept saying, no, thank you, no, thank you. And the lunch lady wrote her up for willful defiance because she wouldn't take pears.
Oh my gosh. So, oh my gosh. And that was in California. Oh
That
my
was
goodness.
California. So,
I,
so, but many states, willful defiance, you know, is that you don't move fast enough. Well, what that's subjective.
it
But
is.
they was using it, teachers were abusing it. So they had to come back and say, some kids are just not going to move as fast as others.
It's true. It's exactly. Oh my goodness. The nuances in this is really amazing to me, Jerry. And I can't even imagine how much more you've been able to help and give relief to families because of your expertise. Jerry, what is the best way for families to reach you?
The best way would be my phone number. And let me say something else. So let me show you this. So this is one wristband. That's the one phone number website.
Okay,
That's the Black Student Advocate. And
nice.
then this is the Bullying as a Drug. And
Love
we
it.
have students wear these. So now you're in class and you know you're not there by yourself.
So
You know,
wonderful.
in case something happens, then you say, Mom, call this number. I need help. Dad, call this number. I need help. Guardian, call this number. I need help.
Love it.
Because you just don't know when you're going to need me. And something about my business is I can drip you. And for people who don't know drip, that means send you an email every couple weeks about the business, about what I do. And you don't need me. And your kid can start school at 5 years old and you don't need me. But the senior year, second month, you need my services. I'm a now business. And
Yeah.
when parents need me, they call me today. They don't call me just to say how you doing, Jerry, and this and that. They're like, oh, okay, Jerry, you doing that. Okay, you still doing that. But when they need me, they call me like, Jerry, this happened today.
I'm
You
telling you,
know,
every parent should have you on their auto dial. They should have you like an emergency because when things happen, it happens fast and it
fast.
is overwhelming. And it is so quick to feel like we're alone.
Hmm.
I need help here.
Hmm.
And I just think that you are so essential to every family that really has a child in school because you just never know. You never know what's going to happen. You honestly don't. So I'm
And
really
so,
encouraging everyone to reach out and just put Jerry on your speed dial. Honestly, you
so,
have to.
so let me give you the number. It's 855-472-3784. And
Wonderful.
that's the Bullying is the Drug or the website Bullying is the Drug. You can contact me through there too.
And for those of you
Um,
who are going to be watching this, the QR code's on the screen with
yes,
Jerry.
and,
So
and,
that's
and
the
let me say
picture.
what that is. So you see the crest. So the crest is our micro SAS, is safety over silence. And what that means is that when a parent can register They register with their name, email, phone number, their student name, phone number, and the superintendent, assistant superintendent, principal, and director of public safety name and email. So when a student says, I'm being bullied on their phone by another student in the cafeteria, when they push send, all six of us get an email, but me and the parent get a text message. So the
That's
parent have one of three options. They can call the district, they can call their student, or they can call me, and then we're going to call the district
my
and see what's
God.
going on with their student.
You've really thought this through, Jerry. This is
Yeah.
amazing. This is really, really amazing. It's such a service. I really think that, like I said, every person, if you have a child in the school system, you need to have an advocate like Jerry. You need to have Jerry, really. Jerry, thank
Let,
you so much for your
let
time.
me
I
say
feel like we could
something
keep
else.
going. Yeah,
Let me say
please.
one more thing.
Yeah.
Parents, you need to be at the school site minimal 12 times a year volunteering. If we got 200 parents to be at the school site volunteering, then that's going to change the environment of the students because parents are there checking on them, and now teachers can teach and do less discipline.
Wow. That is actually a fantastic advice. And it's so true. I mean, every opportunity I have to be involved with the schools and to join, I'm always there. One, because it's fun to see them,
Mhm.
but I also am curious of, who else is around and how do things work? Because I hear about it, but I don't know. And to see it in action is interesting. And you do learn a lot. That is
A-
such good.
And opportunities come your way when you're at the school site for your
Mm-hmm.
student.
Mm-hmm. 100%. Jerry, I'm definitely going to have you back on again.
Thank you.
But this was amazing. I can't tell you how grateful we're all are just that you spent this time to share the tips that you gave, the insight you gave. Really, is invaluable. I thank you so much, Jerry.
Thank you.
This is fantastic. And again, everyone, please, you really should reach out to Jerry. I think he is probably someone that is essential besides your doctor, besides your dentist. I mean, you need Jerry. I mean, this is the person, your therapist. This is it. Because nothing matters more than our kids, really. And if we want to be prepared and help them as fully as we can, Jerry, you have to call Jerry L. Jean. You have to call Bullying as a Drug. I mean, this is it. This is really amazing. Thank you, Jerry. I really appreciate your time
Thank
and
you.
everything that you've shared with us. And we're definitely going to be circling back to you for 100%, sir. This was great. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope you learned a lot. And I'm sure all of you have a lot to think about. Please get in touch with Jerry L. Green. This is fantastic. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. For more info, go to matuslaw.com.